a little area where we disagree on cryptocurrencies.
Okay.
Okay. So I was going to, like, I've heard you guys continually say, I want you guys to give me one instance where like crypto helps disenfranchise people and different stuff. And I was going to point out that there is actually, I know people who have done this, who either as kids or as adults have used cryptocurrency to be able to purchase HRT from gray market vendors online, like this woman, Lena, in Ukraine, who sells estradiol valerate in places in Brazil. And it's not just like, you know, people who are minors, it's people in other countries like India, Pakistan, places where there's like really, really awful oppression towards people in these communities, where they're able to get access to what for them is life-saving medical care. And to be honest, I hope the crypto market crashes. I hope it dives into the ground and Bitcoin is a penny stock. But I don't care if it's worth $10,000 or 1/10,000th of a dollar for a Bitcoin. All that matters is that it is for the sake of day-to-day interactions in anonymized currency.
Yeah, I mean, I understand in terms of using it to buy things like that might not be available here. I'm fine. That as its original usage, it's not a terrible concept. But
right,
like,
the answer isn't that should be the thing. Like the answer shouldn't be that people have to go to these gray markets to buy this stuff with this illicit money. Like the answer should be that these things should be available to people.
Oh, they couldn't hear Binder there. Sorry, we're working with the board.
Now you should be able to. But yeah, do you want to say that one more time, Binder?
Oh yeah, I was going to say, you know, the answer though isn't that, you know, we promote Bitcoin or any crypto usage for this type of use case. The answer is that we make this life-saving or life-changing medication available to people legally, and we make it available to them so they don't have to do what, you know, they don't have to go through illicit markets where who knows how legit even the medications they're getting are. I mean, that's, you know, it's a current workaround, but I would never promote that as like that's why it's needed.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's
it's a transitory thing, but for the time being, it's very useful, and I don't think it's helpful to like give that up right now. You know, it's like there are a lot of people saying that you should just, you know, ban this entirely, and I think that like, you know, we're going to need it in a lot of places in the world, and in a lot of people in bad circumstances for the next 20, 30 years.
I think
I'm less sold on that, but I do think like that's a good example of like how these are like. It's sort of like how we say like you can make money by speculating on this stuff too, right? Like we don't deny like
of course. I think that's awful, and I think the impact of that has been bad. I think that cryptocurrency overall, as like impacts on wealth inequality, has been a net negative, and it's hurt a lot of people who have lost their ass on this stuff, who have gotten into these like scam coins that end up getting rug pulled by these content creators. But I think that there are a handful of like positive edge outcomes because of it. I also was going to say, I personally wouldn't do this as a musician because, you know, like the amount of carbon to like mint an NFT is about the same as taking a flight across the country, but you can do really interesting stuff with NFTs of like, let's say you record a different take of each track and you assign each one to be its own, you know, individual marker. That could be a really neat little concept with that. There are cool ideas to do with the technology, but overall it's not being used in a good way right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think like even in like things like remittances, like there's cases where an individual might be able to get advantage on that, and the instance you're mentioning is an important one, but the problem is like that's not going to scale up, and I don't know that we can make policy based around like those limited edge cases, frankly. Like I think the wider problem of cryptocurrency outweighs that. But and that's because I don't think it's going to be a sustainable place for people to like source stuff like that for 20 to 30 years. I'm skeptical of that. But Brandon, you were going to say something?
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead first.
I was going to say, like, people have been using this for like about a decade. It's not at all reliant on the currency like having any value. It could be worth like fractions of a penny, but the point is that like it's the intermediary currency.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I appreciate Paul, Wren. Here, Brandon, you can respond when I hang up on you, because then we'll take another call after that. Thanks so much.
Okay, bye.
Oh wait, no, you can go. Last thing.
Oh, I was going to say that, like, call me, like, a social libertarian, call me an anarchist, call me a libertarian socialist, whatever you want to. But like I don't think we have to agree on everything to say that we are mostly aligned with each other politically.
Agreed. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Take care.
Yeah.
Take care.
Wren.
Oh, no, take care, caller. And also, I would agree with that. But I would just say, we have to be careful about, like the caller mentioned, using edge cases that people are using, oppressed people are using or able to utilize to survive, and turning that into, a justification for an entirely corrupt system. Because at the end of the day, what we're talking about, we don't have any numbers in front of us to say how many trans people are using this to get, life-saving medication. But what we do know is that even if that is the case, that we can't in good conscience advise people who need life-saving medication to get involved with crypto, because for every one or two person who gets rich, people lose money in rug pulls. There are rug pulls every other day. They just lost $625 million worth of Ethereum and USD coin on an Axie Infinity scam. So, at a certain point, it becomes like, yes, and we see it sometimes in our society too, people using like edge cases within the system to justify like the entirety of that system as needing to exist because it has liberatory potential. But this is even, an even more difficult case to use for because but if someone tries to do this with that technology, they could even lose what little money they have. People like get loans out to try to double it in crypto and lose all that money, and that's something that we can't really advocate for, just because like some people have gotten lucky within that system, generally speaking.
Right. To add a little bit more to that, actually, I'll be talking about it tonight on Scam Economy. That's what the episode's about, the Axie Infinity hack.
Nice.
35% of the Axie Infinity users are based in the Philippines, where the money they earn from playing Axie Infinity is actually, it's not like minimum wage there, but it's enough to keep them, they make like something like $150 a month or something like that, which is a job for them over there. Because of this hack, they can't cash out. So they basically lost their jobs and have no way to make an income right now for the 35% of Axie Infinity users based in the Philippines who are using this as their main source of income. Like, that's how quickly it all just disappears.
Yeah, I think as a leftist, what I'm advocating for is better infrastructure, including healthcare and access to like the necessary resources for treatment, of all sorts of medical conditions, not just like, HRT, but like diabetes, etc. And, the like trying to justify like what's like a gambling economy because some gamblers are able to use the money they win from gambling to pay for that stuff is just like, it's just not safe to put your money into crypto. So it's like, it's hard to like justify as like a liberatory structure.
Yeah, and like to Wren's credit, like that is an example, but it's one that is better, like I think emphasized person to person for somebody who actually needs an avenue
as opposed to
like publicizing it as an avenue for like wider liberation.
Extrapolating it onto a system, as you guys have been saying.
Yeah, I know. I think. Okay. I was going to say just one last point. I think that's a good point, because like we do hear that a lot online, where people who like need to utilize systems that we understand are exploitative, like people who like are disabled and can't afford to like not order groceries because obviously that's necessary, and so like grocery apps are exploitative of workers. But there's a middle ground between needing to rely on exploitative systems and I hate to say it, taking personal offense to the fact that people point out those systems are exploitative because you need to rely on them by nature of the way our society works, and therefore becoming a voice to justify the existence of those systems when people are ultimately arguing for better treatment of people who need these resources around.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it's necessary in those individual cases, but not sufficient for a society. And like, you can talk about structural changes while also exploiting like the fault lines in our messed up society in order to survive. Like, do that in terms of like jobs you have to get, whatever you need to do. You can make those own determinations based on your individual context.